Guys, welcome back to another YouTube video. Now, in today's video, guys, I am finally back with another full review for the new Wonka movie that just came out this weekend. Now, before I get onto this video, obviously, I do need to get you guys back up to par with what's been going on. Now, if you read the community post, you know what is going to be coming up next. I do have a few videos to make alongside of this, so if you're watching this video, expect a few other videos to follow in the near future. So you guys voted on the community poll for the end of the year ranking that you would want to see first, and you guys decided to see the horror ranking first, which works out for me because I've already watched pretty much all the horror movies that I've needed to watch this year. There's not really any else that I have planned for the rest of the year. And so after this video, after I get this uploaded, I'm going to get to working on that. I was trying to work on it a few days ago, and I would have had it out before this, but I was having some troubles with that. So make sure you stay tuned for that next. And there is another movie that I watched just today that I'm still debating on whether or not I need to do a full review for it. So make sure you stay tuned for that as well. But otherwise, I watched Wonka yesterday, and so I decided that I should do probably a full review while we're still in the weekend that it released. Yeah, so I apologize for the delay last week. Physically just kind of feeling like crap. I had a lot of back pain, and then I was kind of sick, and my voice was definitely not going to sound good for the video overall, and so I wanted to wait it out until it sounded better and stuff like that. And so I apologize for the delay there, but that's kind of what's been going on. And so we are very, very close to my goal of 50. I am at 46 right now. And so, yeah, we're still on the grind there. We still got at least 4 more movies to watch for the year. And so the likelihood of accomplishing this goal definitely seems more and more likely as we go down. So make sure you stay tuned for that future content. Otherwise, let's get straight on to this review. So, Wonka, I feel like it's been a long wait for this movie. I think I first saw the trailer for this movie back in the summer at some point, and it really just feels like it's been a really, really long wait for this movie. And I wasn't super excited for the movie. As a kid, I did like the Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory films, the 1970 one and the Tim Burton 2005 one, but I wasn't overly excited about this just because of finding out that it was like a prequel, and so they're going to try to focus on his backstory and stuff like that. I always just liked the original format of the Charlie and the Chocolate Factory book, where he sends out the golden tickets, invites, and whoever gets it gets to come into the factory, and then one by one the kids fall off, and eventually Charlie gets the factory or whatever. I just always really liked that format, and so switching it up, I wasn't like super excited for this or anything like that. But the trailers did look very, very promising. It looked to be a very, very uplifting and charming film overall. And so I just thought that there really isn't anything to lose by watching this movie. It looks like a very, very harmless film, and I'm probably not going to walk out being disliking it in any sort of way. And so getting on to the positives, what the trailers shown is pretty much what we got out of this movie. This turned out to be a very uplifting, charming, whimsical, energetic film overall, and I really just thought that that's always what the Charlie and the Chocolate Factory story should be. And I know that obviously Roald Dahl is known for having some darker, kind of weirder, strange, eccentric elements to his stories, and so I understand that that's always been like a key element to it, but I like how they just kind of dialed back on it in this movie, because I feel like in the 1970 and even sometimes in the 2005 one, there's just some really, really strange elements that I wasn't always a huge fan of. And in here, you do get a little bit of it with like some edgy humor here and there, but otherwise, this movie, for the most part, just sticks to being a very energetic, charming, uplifting film overall. And that's what I really, really like that. I just like how it embraces that overall and just tries to stick to being a very family-friendly film, and I think that is all led very, very well by our main lead, Timothée Chalamet. I think when he sticks to his strengths, which is being this energetic, fun character of Willy Wonka, I think he does a really, really great job. I'll talk more about the elements to his characters when I get into the mixed and the negatives, but I think he does really, really bring the energetic, whimsical, magical side of Willy Wonka to the table very, very, very well. I still do prefer Gene Wilder much more. I think he just really perfected the eccentric character of Willy Wonka, but I don't think that Timothée Chalamet did a bad job at all. I really, really like that uplifting side that he kind of brought to the table here. And overall, I like the story. I like the characters in this movie. For those of you who haven't watched the movie yet, kind of a basic outline of the story is Willy Wonka comes into this market square and he's trying to find a place to stay so he can make his chocolate and try to sell it around this market square. And he finds out, so when he does think he found a good place to stay, he finds out that he actually has to work his way out of this debt, sort of. I'm still a little confused on how it works, but basically he has to work for the owners of this motel until he pays off this debt, and he finds out that it's going to take him a very, very long time to do that. There's some other people in there that are in even bigger debt than he is. There's this one orphan girl in here that is in like the most amount of debt and stuff like that. And so his idea is that he's going to sneak outside of this the place that they're making him work at, and he's going to try to sell his chocolate and basically get rich so that he can bring all these people out of here. And so you have the rival chocolate companies trying to compete against him once they find out like how good his chocolate is and stuff like that. So you got Slugworth, obviously, and a few other major chocolate companies in here that are trying to compete with him. And yeah, I really, really like the story overall. I like our characters, especially the impoverished characters that he works with throughout the most of the film and tries to get them out of there by selling his chocolate. I really, really like that idea for the story. I think it works out really, really well. I like especially our main one of our side main characters named Noodle in here, who's like that orphan that I was talking about that was in the most amount of debt. I think she does a really, really good job in here. And so, yeah, overall, I like the story. I like the characters. I like our main lead, Timothée Chalamet. And it just ends up being a very, very uplifting, energetic, fun story. Has some really, really silly humor in here, particularly with two characters, the two motel owners. You'll see what I mean when you watch the movie, but there's some really, really silly humor between them that I did enjoy more than when they did some of the edgy humor in here. And then obviously, almost forgot to mention, you have Hugh Grant playing as the Oompa Loompa, who has kind of sort of his side plot where he's trying to get back some of the chocolate that Willy Wonka stole from Loompa Land. And so his job is to get Willy Wonka to return him the favor and get him all the chocolate that he took back. And then he'll return to Loompa Land, basically. And so I really did enjoy that little side plot. I thought Hugh Grant did a pretty good job there. Moving into the mixed category, and before I go any further with this, I don't think that there's really anything in the negatives for me. This was the only minor, insignificant issue that I had with this movie, and I didn't feel like putting it in the negatives for that reason. So, like I said, I was going to continue talking about our main character, Willy Wonka, played by Timothée Chalamet. And like I said, when he plays to his strengths of just being this very energetic, whimsical, magical, uplifting, charming character, I know that's a lot of words to describe him, but you know exactly what I mean. I think that it works very, very well. I think Timothée Chalamet is probably the best at doing that out of our three actors who have played Willy Wonka over the years. But when they try to copy some of the lines from the original Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory from 1970 from Gene Wilder, I just don't think it lands very, very well. Gene Wilder's the only one that could really pull off that, because he was kind of the opposite of Timothée Chalamet's take on Willy Wonka. He's not very uplifting or anything like that. He's kind of deadpan with his responses and his jokes and things like that. And so I think it just worked really, really well for him. And when you try to do that with Timothée Chalamet, it just doesn't land very well. And I'm sure you've seen some of that in the trailer. I know when I saw it in the trailer, especially that scratch that reverse it line that they threw in the trailer, I was like, I don't really like that. But that was the only minor issue that I really had with this film. Otherwise, for the most part, I had a heck of a fun time with this film. I thought it was really, really good, and I think that there's a lot of potential in the future for this, assuming that this movie makes a lot of money, which I think it will. I think it will probably make at least 300 million, if not more, by the time that New Year's Eve is over. I think it'll definitely make enough money to create a sequel. And so I think that there's a trilogy. There's a potential for a trilogy here, where your sequel could be the original format of the Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, where the golden ticket story and things like that. And then maybe the third film, you could finally do a movie about the second book that came out for Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, called The Great Glass Elevator. Maybe that could be the third film, if they do decide to make some kind of trilogy with this. I really hope that's the direction they go, but there's a lot of potential here, and I think that they did a good job to start, if they do choose to continue. So, yeah, overall, I would definitely recommend Wonka. There's really nothing to lose here. Go check it out in the theaters, especially if you have kids or anything like that. I think that's pretty much it. On Rotten Tomatoes, I gave it a 4.5 out of 5 stars. And I really didn't have a whole lot of issues with this movie. So even though I don't think that this is the best film of the year, because I had very, very little issues, I'm going to give this movie a 9.5 out of 10. So that seems very, very high. But like I said, I don't think this is the greatest film of the year. I just think that it did a lot of good things and had very, very few bad things to say about it. So yeah, I would definitely recommend this one. So that is pretty much it. Stay tuned for my end of the year horror ranking. We're gonna start kicking off the ending of the year rankings. So make sure you stay tuned for that. And I'm not gonna waste any more of your time. Like and subscribe, guys, and I will see you next time.